Hey man, what up man? What's going on YouTube? Hey, we're back with another NBA Best Bets where we're going to go over every single game today on the NBA slate for tonight. It's Saturday, man. Let's have a dang good day. But hey, we got 14 games on today. You already know I got 3 best bets for you. Let's go to that recap because, did we have a good night last night. A little mini 2-0 sweep. Bring out the broom. 76ers, they cover easily versus the Cavs. They actually win outright. And then that game, the Cavs 76ers flies over that total. So, hey, a nice little winning day, man. Up 3.4 units for the week. For the year, we're up 10.7 units. We're rolling right now in the NBA. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get to these 3 best bets, but let's go through every single game today. The first game on the board's in Paris, man. We all know this game. The Pacers at the Spurs today. Pacers about 2-point favorites, and like I said, when these teams just matched up a couple days ago, I said, hey, you got to take Wemby 25 points. If you think the Spurs have a shot to win, parlay it. Wemby 25 points and Spurs to win. Guess what? It crushed the first game. If you think the Spurs have a shot here, look at all the games that the Spurs win. Out of the 20 wins, I don't know this off the top of my head, so take this with, kind of tune me out here. But I'm not joking. I think the Spurs, out of the 20 wins they've had, 15 of those, at least Wemby has scored 25 or more points. Like, if he's having good games, the Spurs are winning. So if you think Wemby has another good game here, I do lean the Spurs. Now, not really any injuries at the time of recording, so can't really say much about this game other than, hey, Wemby could go off again. It's in Paris. Could he go off again? 100%. High usage players always smack versus the Pacers. What did Wemby do the first game versus the Pacers? Flew over his assists, which high usage players always do versus the Pacers, and then he crushed his point line. You know what? First game that they played here, I did take Devin Vassell under 2.5 threes because Pacers don't allow a lot of threes. But, man, Devin Vassell is just shooting lights out, man. Lights out. He's been shooting like 83% from 3, 40% from 3, 43% from 3, 50% from 3, 55% from 3. The man cannot miss over his last like 6-7 games. So I don't know if I'm wanting to fade Devin Vassell. I think he's definitely going to come back down to earth here soon. And today could be that day. But, hey, I don't know if there's really anything I'm necessarily loving in that game. Moving right along to the Denver Nuggets at the Minnesota Timberwolves here. Now, not really any big injuries that I see. Now, I do see Anthony Edwards is questionable with an illness. It seems like this illness is going around to everyone right now in the NBA. So be wary here. I see questionable right now with an illness. If he plays, which I kind of expect him to, I think Ant has a good game. I lean his over points, lean his over 3-pointers. Nikola Jokic right now is going crazy. If you look at his RA, it's been a wagon play over the last little bit. So if you want to keep on riding that, I know he's been crushing it recently. So I'm not going to take it today. I do like another play in this game, but I was looking at some Nuggets players here. There's nothing crazy that I'm really loving. It seems like the Nuggets, like I know Russell Westbrook, I usually like taking him at home. On the road, don't love it. Michael Porter Jr.'s line's just really low. His lines just continue to just scare me, man. That just honestly, that's all I can say is they just scare me because 3 or 4 games ago, it was at 14.5, 15.5. Every time I took him, he went under. He landed at like 14, 15 points. And then last 2 games, his point line's been at 15, 16.5, and he's scoring 19, 20 points. So I don't know what to expect with Michael Porter Jr., man. He usually has good games versus the Timberwolves, so I lean his over just because in the past he's had some very good games versus them. So that's probably my heaviest lean for that Nuggets side besides Jokic. Jokic is an absolute just wagon right now, but, you know, I pick and choose my spots with Jokic today. I do like another player here, and it comes to our first best bet here. We just took him. We've taken him actually a couple times in the YouTube videos already. Rudy Gobert over 9.5 rebounds. Now, I expect this line to be bumped probably by the time you guys see this, so I would play it at 10.5. I definitely would. Now, everyone is going to be nervous because it's Rudy Gobert. We all know Rudy Gobert can absolutely sell you, and if you're looking over his last about 4 games, he's went under 3 of 4, grabbing 6 rebounds, 4 rebounds, and 6 rebounds in those 3 that he went under. So not even coming close to this line. But he crushes versus Jokic, man. He's hit this line 4 straight versus Jokic, grabbing 12 plus rebounds in all 4. All we need today is 10, and even if it gets bumped up, I still like it. But like I said, recently, not been the greatest, but I expect him to show out here versus Jokic. Playing 28 plus minutes. He's hit it 13 of 18 games this year and 8 of his last 10. So all we need is Gobert to get about 28 plus minutes. He usually plays more than that versus Jokic. And I think he crushes this line. Now, this line is very low. I would still play it at 10.5 though, and I would gladly still play it there because I do really like the spot for Gobert there. That is my favorite play in that game. So we're moving right along. Third game, Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks. I lean my Celtics here. Derek White looks like he may be questionable. Klay Thompson, a lot of injury news for this Mavs team that, at the time that I'm recording this, Luka's, I know, going to be out. Derek Lively's going to be out. Dwight Powell is out. Najee Marshall is out. But Jaden Hardy is questionable. Klay Thompson is questionable. So those guys could go. Who knows? All I know is Kyrie's never really good versus the Celtics. As a Celtics fan, I know this. Now, this isn't in Boston. This isn't in Boston. If this was in Boston, I'd be leaning Kyrie under points. It seems like since he's left Boston, he had maybe one or two good games with the Nets, like right when he joined the Nets after leaving Boston versus the Celtics. But other than that, man, the last like 6 games versus him, he's not played very well. Spencer Dinwiddie, lean his under points. I do not expect him to go out there and shoot. What did he shoot yesterday? 78% last game out. 79% for Spencer Dinwiddie. I just don't expect that. Some Celtics props here I do like. I lean Tatum over. I lean Jaylen Brown over. I lean Kristaps over. I mean, I do like the Celtics here, and that brings us right to our second bet. So let me know if you like this play at all. Drop a like, drop a comment if you like this play. Celtics -8 today versus the Mavs. Now, I know they are wishy-washy and very up and down, at least over the last 15 games here. But, hey, off a loss, they are money. 10-3 ATS off a loss. So they are 10-3 against the spread off a loss. Lost to the Lakers last game. I expect him to bounce back here. Like I said, Kyrie always isn't, he never really has great games versus the Celtics. He's went under 21 points and a decent amount over the last couple games versus the Celtics. So I love the spot here. I don't expect Spencer Dinwiddie to shoot real great there like how he did last game. Yes, Mavs did just beat the Thunder, but they shot 53%. I don't expect that to happen again. I love the Celtics here -8. The Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets is going to be the next game, and as you can tell, we're going a little quicker today because there's 14 games. Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets. I cannot trust the Miami Heat, man. -9, and you know what's crazy? Is if D'Angelo Russell plays or Zaire Williams plays or Ben Simmons plays, I like the Nets. Give me the Nets if all those guys play. Now, right at this time right now, I don't know if they're playing. So this is a complete stay away for me. I have been telling everyone, if you are a Heat fan or you like taking Heat props, I don't know how you can back them right now. I don't know how you can. Everyone is just so up and down. Jimmy's in and out of that lineup. Tyler Hero can shoot just absolutely terrible from night to night. So even if you like him, he can go out there and shoot 7 for 24. I mean, I've watched him do it. Bam Adebayo, his scoring is just so up and down. Kel'el Ware, he's like their new best scorer. I don't get this Miami Heat team, man. Miss me with this game. I'm completely staying away from it. And like I said, even if all those guys sit, even if the Nets are literally out there with a G League team, I do not like the Heat as a 10-point favorite. So I still would lean the Nets, and then especially if they have a couple of those guys go like D'Lo or Zaire Williams, all those guys, I definitely lean the Nets. But other than that, man, I am gladly staying away. Moving on to the next game. New Orleans Pelicans versus the Charlotte Hornets. New Orleans Pelicans, about 3-4 point favorites here. This game, isn't my favorite. It does look like Zion's going to go. He didn't miss last game. They are playing on a back-to-back, the Pelicans are. So every report I'm reading is Zion's good to go. So I lean Zion overs. His lines are pretty low, man, like 21.5. I would lean his over. And it seems like they kind of just disrespected a little bit of CJ McCollum here. CJ McCollum's been flying over that point line at 18.5. 22 points, 45 points, and 26 points last 3 games. I kind of lean CJ McCollum over. I know with Zion in that lineup, it changes how much he hits that, but still, I feel like it's just a low line versus a Hornets team that I really don't love. Couple Hornets guys here, checking them out. LaMelo Ball, I lean his over RA again. If you've been checking, if you watched the video, his last game that he played, it was earlier this week. I leaned his over RA. He smacked it. That's why I'm always telling you guys, pay attention to the leans, pay attention to the words that I'm saying, because there are some guys that I definitely hit at that I like. Maybe I just don't personally like putting my own money on them, but like usually maybe they have a really good spot. Miles Bridges, now his point line today is at 20.5, 19.5. If it's at 19.5, actually lean the over. 20.5, honestly, I'm staying away, man. And I know that sounds crazy, only a 1-point bump to stay away, but this man lands around 19 to 22 points all the time. If he's hitting it, he's not really flying over it, unless if he shoots great, which how can you expect Miles Bridges to go out there and shoot like 60, 70%. Could he? Yeah, because the Pelicans' points allowed in the paint is bottom 2 in the NBA this year, and especially recently. So that Pelicans defense, interior defense, not very good. So Mark Williams could have a day here. Miles Bridges could have a day there. Those are kind of my leans. I don't really love Mark Williams at 18 and a half points. I know he's kind of been a wagon for some people recently. I mean, he's had some huge games. 18 and a half seems really high for Mark Williams. I know he's had some huge games recently, but over his career, he's really not hitting that a lot. So yes, unless if this year is his year and he's just going to start balling out like crazy, rock with him. But for me, I just don't know if I can take it that high. I'd honestly rather have Miles Bridges probably because he'll have a higher usage rate. Williams, he can dominate in the paint there. But in that game, Pelicans on a back-to-back. Let's check out how the Pelicans have been on a back-to-back this year. Pelicans on no rest this year on a back-to-back are 4-6 ATS against the spread. 4-6. Let's look on no rest if they have just won or whatever. 1-9 win-loss. They have won one game on a back-to-back. Oh my Lord. Now, a lot of those games probably without Zion. Some of them probably without Zion and DeJounte Murray. So, and possibly even Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy's been out times this year. I really can't. I'm not in love with a spread here. I would be leaning the Pelicans because I could see Zion having a good game, but I'm just not in love with it. I would rather have some of those player props, but I don't have anything official in this game. But I would definitely rather have some of those player props over there for that Pelican side, or like Miles Bridges, something like that. So let's move on to the next game. Detroit Pistons versus the Orlando Magic. Detroit Pistons, man, they've been solid. They have been absolutely solid, man. 7-3 in their last 10, 6-4 against the spread. They just beat the Rockets, just beat the Hawks. On the road, they've won their last 4 road games. I mean, I don't know it's another thing. I mean, I know the spread's different today, but this Heat team and the Magic, I don't know how you can back the Magic and feel confident in them. If you're backing the Heat, I don't know how you can feel confident in them. Now, I do got to say, Paolo, Franz Wagner, it even looks like Jalen Suggs could be coming back. He's questionable. So Jalen Suggs questionable, Cole Anthony questionable, Goga Piazza questionable. If all those guys go, I mean, you can maybe convince me on the Magic because Franz and Paolo are there, and I feel like those guys could get to the foul line a lot today. I think that game's going to be a lower scoring game. I don't want to give you a lean on the total. I'm not very good on those low totals like that are really, really low. Honestly, in this game, I probably would be leaning the Magic, especially if they have Goga Piazza go and maybe Cole Anthony. I think I need at least one of those guards to go, either Jalen Suggs or Cole Anthony, and then hopefully Goga Piazza. So at the time of this recording, a lot of questionables, but I would probably be leaning the Magic there. I expect them to bounce back, man. I still feel like their defense is too good. I know they've been getting smoked by bad teams, but I mean, hell, they're still only allowing 101 points, 109. They're not allowing a lot of points, man. I mean, besides against the Nuggets and the Celtics, which two of the best offenses in the NBA. Pistons aren't necessarily up there in the top 5, top 10 in the NBA in offensive rating or anything, but hey, they are solid. They're in the middle of the pack there, and their defense is not bad. So in that game, lean the Magic, very, very small lean. Player props in that game, I wasn't loving anything. I mean, for the Pistons here, Tobias Harris going up against his old team in the Magic, I can't trust him on the road. That man can never score more than 10 points, it seems like, this year. So on the road, I don't love it, even though he's going up against his old team. Cade Cunningham, I actually lean his under points. Like I said, I want to lean the under in this game just because of how that Magic's offense has looked. And that Pistons defense is still solid. And I think that Magic defense will play pretty well against that Pistons team tonight. I want to lean the under on Cade, but also I don't love it. I don't love it. And I say that because he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. If you guys haven't been able to tell in the videos, man, I definitely favor taking overs more than I do unders, but I definitely like taking unders as well too. But as you can tell, when I'm talking about guys and giving you leans, it's usually more for the overs. And if it's a lean to the under, it's usually because, that's what I'm saying, if you guys pay attention to what I'm saying, if I say I don't really love them or not a great matchup or whatever, that usually means I'm either staying away or I lean the under. So Cade, probably leaning the under there, but really don't love it just because it's Cade, man. Paolo, 23.5 points. Switching over to some Magic guys here. Paolo at 23.5. I mean, last game was a really, really bad game, but Franz kind of stepped up. I really don't like taking player props in games where the lineups are just changing every single game. And that Pistons or that Magic team, there's just been so many guys in and out of that lineup, and now they're kind of getting some guys back. And they really haven't played a lot this year with each other. Now, Paolo at 23.5 points, I'd probably still lean the over there, but another play, just not in love with it. I would lean there. Next game, Toronto Raptors versus Atlanta Hawks, and the Toronto Raptors just beat the Hawks last game. They did. Hawks, on back-to-backs this year continue to be horrible. So that was a big reason why I think they lost. But a lot of injury news in this game, man. Kelly Olynyk, out. Emmanuel Quickly still out for them. For the Hawks, Trae Young, I think he's questionable or probable today. Clint Capella, same thing. I think he's probable or questionable. Jalen Johnson is out. And then they're, of course, missing their guys that they've been missing for a minute here. But I want to take the Hawks. I think the Hawks probably get a little bit of revenge. But low-key, man, I think if you're looking at that Hawks team, I feel like they got to have somebody else step up, like DeAndre Hunter, somebody, man, because I feel like right now, if it's all up to Trae Young, I kind of do want to take Trae Young's over, but also, man, when he faces up against Davion Mitchell, who's going to be probably guarding him, he's not very, he doesn't really hit his point prop this high. And when he does, it's because he's shooting like 60%. So that's a lot to ask from Trae Young. We all know what his shooting percentage is. He's usually more of a volume guy to hit his overs. So 26.5 with no Jalen Johnson, I would still say I lean the over, but my Lord, I think he could definitely fly under that. So definitely staying away from it. Jakob Poeltl today for the Raptors, I don't mind him over 13.5 points, even over assists today at 2.5. Hawks have been allowing a lot of assists to the center there, or at least Jakob Poeltl's been having some solid games versus them, and they do allow a lot of assists right at the rim, and Jakob Poeltl does hit a lot of guys out of that post area, so I don't mind Jakob Poeltl today in some way. Now, Scotty Barnes is another guy. If you watched my last video, we took Scotty Barnes over points plus assists. He almost hit that in points alone. Today, I'm kind of staying away from his points, but I do not mind his assist today at 5.5. Now, if it's at 5.5, you're going to have to pay like minus 145, minus 150 juice, which is definitely a lot. You could definitely even probably take his RA at that point, but at 6.5, even at plus odds, I think it's sweet. I think for there, I either like RJ Barrett over assists or Scotty Barnes over assists. Both of them kind of juicy. I think RJ Barrett was at 4.5 assists at like minus 135, and then you got Scotty here at 5.5 at like minus 145. So I lean both those guys over. It's just kind of picking and choosing who you like there a little bit more. I think I definitely lean more as of right now with how many props are out for each team. Like I don't see a DeAndre Hunter prop right now. I don't see a lot of some props for the Hawks besides like Trae Young, Okongwu, but I really don't see DeAndre Hunter right now or even Clint Capella. So maybe check back a little bit later. Maybe some lines will move a little bit, but I got some leans in that game, definitely. Scotty Barnes over assists, RJ Barrett over assists, Jakob Poeltl, points plus assists or points or assists. Trae Young, if you're liking Trae Young, man, I would lean his over, but he can just go out there and he needs the volume. And against Davion Mitchell, he hasn't really hit it a lot. So I say I lean the over. It's a big part because Jalen Johnson is out as well, and I don't expect him to have another game here. Trae Young scoring less than 20 points, so I expect him to have a little bit of a bounce back. But, honestly, I would maybe even lean the Raptors again in that game. But I think there's plenty of other better games today, especially this next one, so let's move to it. Houston Rockets versus the Cleveland Cavs. If you tailed last video, or at least in the VIP, Rockets +3 was the play that we had the last game that these guys met up literally like 3 nights ago. Cavs are on a back-to-back. I'm not real worried about them on a back-to-back. Now, they did lose yesterday. I like them here at home. Now, some more injury news. Does look like Evan Mobley. I'm seeing props on the board for Evan Mobley. That means he's either got to be coming back or he's coming back, or he's either got to be coming back or he's close to coming back. They did just play on a back-to-back. Maybe today he comes back. If they do, honestly, man, I love the Cavs here. I love the Cavs just as much as I can't say I like the Cavs as much as I liked the Rockets a couple nights ago. I loved the Rockets when they just faced up versus the Cavs. I definitely lean and like the Cavs here. I don't know if I'm in love with them how I was with the Rockets when they last faced. But I would definitely be leaning the Cavs here. Some player props, Jared Allen. Now, I like Jared Allen on a lot of his props here if Evan Mobley doesn't go. If Evan Mobley doesn't go, I definitely like Jared Allen double-double. I like his over points plus rebounds. I like all Jared Allen today if Evan Mobley doesn't go. If Evan Mobley comes back, I just like the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if I can take his point line at 25.5 if Evan Mobley's back. If you've been looking, Evan Mobley, when he was in the lineup, Donovan Mitchell's point line was like 22.5, 21.5, 23.5 before game times. Now that he's been out, last couple games have been at 25, 26.5 before game time. And, he's been hitting it. But with Evan Mobley coming back, if he comes back, I'm not in love with Donovan Mitchell over today. I know he's been hitting it a little bit recently, but I'm not in love with it. Darius Garland, I would probably like more Garland there, 21.5 points. I mean, bro, Garland's been kind of smacking this year. He has been smacking. So I don't mind a little bit of Garland there, but definitely my favorite Cavs would be Jared Allen if Evan Mobley doesn't go. And if Evan Mobley goes, I like the Cavs. So that's kind of where my head's at with it. Some Rockets props here. Dylan Brooks, nah. Amin Thompson, nah. Fred VanVleet, nah. Really, the only guy that popped off the page to me was Alperen Sengun. Alperen Sengun. I lean his over points. I don't love his rebounds, but I lean his over assists is mainly the main thing here that I like the most is his over assists. If you're looking at Sengun on the road this year, this man has been crushing his assist line on the road. Let's go check it out real quick. And while I'm pulling it up, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about this game. But I don't really love Jalen Green today. Jalen Green, I feel like, I liked him. I thought he was going to have a good game versus the Cavs when they just faced. But when you're looking when Jalen Green has been facing like a top defense here, let's go defensive rating, a top 10 defensive team to defensive rating. He strung off like 4 really good games here, but he really hasn't hit that a lot this year. But we all know that Cavs team can allow a decent amount of points. But let's get over to Sengun. That was who I was really wanting to look at here. Assists for Sengun is at 4.5, and man, this guy hits it on the road so damn much, man. This year on the road, he's hit it 15 of 21. 15 of 21 games. Last game they just faced versus the Cavs, he ended up having 4 assists landing on the hook. Only had about like 6 or 7 assist chances, I think it was. I don't think he had a lot of potential assists in that game. But yeah, he had 5 potential assists, landed with and ended with 4. I don't love to see that. If he would have had 8+ assist chances, I would probably be on Sengun today. I still think on the road is a decent matchup, but if you are looking on the road, he was hitting that a lot at the early beginning of the year. If you're looking over like the last 10 road games, he still hit it 6 of 10. Not bad. 6 of the last 11, so nothing crazy, but still, I like the spot for him on the road here. But that is just my favorite lean probably in that game, along with Jared Allen. But I really do just like the Cavs in that game a decent amount. So that would probably be my strongest lean in that game. And then honestly, the total at 227, give me the over, man. The Cavs are just playing super high scoring games, and I definitely think this next game here, because the first game total of 217 was what it ended in. I think this game goes a little bit more because Cavs, they shot 42% against the Rockets that game, and the Rockets shot 44%. Cavs at home are animals. Rockets defense at home, animals. Rockets defense on the road, not as good. Cavs offense at home, which is where they're at tonight, like I said, animals. So lean the over, lean the Cavs. That's what I'm liking there. Moving on to the next game, Sacramento Kings versus the New York Knicks. This line was weird last night, man. If I remember right, this line was like 6.5 plus 6.5 for the Kings, and I was like, oh my Lord, I lean the Kings heavy here. The more I've been up this morning, it does seem like this line's moving a little bit towards the Kings. Like it's +6 now, so it could even move to +5.5. Excuse me. I would say that I'm leaning the Kings here, but them on the road, I don't know if I'm in love with them on the road, but it does look like De'Aaron Fox is questionable. If De'Aaron Fox sits, I love Sabonis over points. I would probably be leaning Sabonis over points, but there's a lot of good leans in this game. Somebody to point out for an injury, though, for the Knicks before we get to some of those leans. Josh Hart is questionable today. So if Josh Hart sits, I love Karl-Anthony Towns today already. I love PRA, PA, one of those. I absolutely love them. Domantas Sabonis, if Fox doesn't go, he's been crushing his point line on the road with or without Fox. So I would be leaning his over there. And then Miles Bridges or Mikal Bridges at home has just been a wagon. I mean, he's been a wagon at 17.5 points. They keep on giving you his line at 17.5 points for Mikal Bridges, but I swear this man at home has just been absolutely smacking it, man. He's been just absolutely smacking it. At home this year, Mikal Bridges hit it 15 of 22, so he's hit it 68% of games. He's went over 2 of the last 3, but then 3 before that went under. So if you're looking at his last 6, he's only went over at 2 of the last 6. But I like the spot here for him. That Kings defense, I mean, they're not bad, but I definitely think Mikal could have a decent game here. We just need him to hit a couple threes, man. That's really all we need. Just a couple other player props to point out in that Knicks game. Jalen Brunson, now, if I think you got to wait for Josh Hart here because at his assist line at 7.5, I actually lean the under here at 7.5 if Josh Hart goes. If Josh Hart sits, I cannot convince you to take an under at all. I mean, I think he would absolutely he'll probably smack that if Josh Hart sits. OG Anunoby missed me with it. Honestly, my favorite player props for the Knicks would be Mikal Bridges or Karl-Anthony Towns, and Jalen Brunson under assists if Josh Hart goes. And then nothing I'm really loving for that Kings side. Even though have been liking how that Kings team's been playing, they've been playing a lot quicker. They have been playing at like a top 8 pace in the NBA, and their offensive rating is amongst the top over their last like 10, 15 games. Like I've been saying, since they got their new head coach, man, they have been running. They're running and gunning, and they're putting up a lot of points. 123 points, 123, 123, 132, 115 in a loss. 124, 114, 123, 129, 138. Now, they didn't really face any like really great defenses, but I can point out one good defense they faced, and it was the Rockets, and they put up 132 points against them. So, and they even faced the Heat, which you know that Heat defense can be okay at times, and they put up 123 points against them about 8 games ago. So I lean the over in that Kings Knicks game. You all know that Knicks team, if they're shooting hot, Cat's going crazy, Jalen Brunson's going crazy, Knicks can easily score 130. So I lean the over in that game. Next game, Philadelphia 76ers versus the Chicago Bulls here. Now, another game. I feel like I got to wait for some injury news here because Andre Drummond, questionable. Caleb Martin, questionable. Kyle Lowry's even questionable. And then for the Bulls, you got Ayo Dosunmu, you got Kobe White. There's just some guys that you just kind of got to wait for some injury news today. Now, if everybody was fully healthy for the Bulls, I probably would have been on the Bulls today. If everybody was healthy. If Ayo Dosunmu was going to go, but Ayo Dosunmu's questionable. Kobe White, he actually might even be out. So, yeah, Kobe White's going to miss at least a week, so he'll be out. So, I think Bulls can still put up some points here, and that Philadelphia 76ers defense is dreadful on the road, man. Absolutely dreadful. Let's look over the last, 8 to 10 games here on the road. The 76ers their defensive rating, man, is 5th worst. The teams that have a worse defensive rating on the road, the Raptors, the Nets, the Lakers, actually, surprisingly, over their last 5 road games, the Wizards, and then the 76ers. So the 76ers over their last 9 road games, they're 3-6. Their offensive rating isn't bad. I mean, they're about middle of the NBA, 14th. So 14th best, but their defensive rating is horrible, man. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I definitely lean the Bulls here. I think the Bulls can just outscore them. I mean, honestly, I think you got to have good games from Maxey, good game from Paul George, and honestly, you just saw it last night. All those guys had their good games last night. Now that Bulls defense is garbage. They allow a lot of points in the paint. Tyrese Maxey could have a day there. Yabusele could have a day there. Guys that get to the rim there could have good games. I think Kelly Oubre has even been having some solid games. But all those guys played. Maxey played 39, 40 minutes. Paul George played 36 minutes, and Paul George has been in and out of that lineup with an eyelash in his eyeball. He sits a game. So I don't know how Paul George is going to play today. He never plays on back-to-backs. He literally can have an eyelash in his eyeball, and he's sitting out 4 games. Kelly Oubre played 39, 40 minutes. I like the Bulls here, man. I think I like the Bulls there, but I kind of want to wait to see if Dosunmu plays. But even then, I still think I like the Bulls. -3.5, -4. I would be grabbing them because I could even see a couple 76ers players like sitting today besides Paul George. So give me the Bulls there. I lean the Bulls. Next game, Utah Jazz versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Utah. What to say about Utah, man? Another team, injuries, and guess what? Some more injuries. John Collins out. Cody Williams out. Johnny Juzang out. Some of these guys have been out for a minute, but Jordan Clarkson out. But the recent guy that's been out, because John Collins did just come back, and now he's right back out. So you're going to have basically Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, Keontae George. Those guys can still hoop. You're still going to have Walker Kessler. Like, they still got some guys. But this Grizzlies team at home, man, is just their wagons, especially if Ja Morant goes today. Ja Morant is still questionable with his little illness that he sat with yesterday. But I'm not seeing anything about him being out today, at least as of yet. Now, if he sat yesterday, he's probably going to go in today with a questionable tag, would be my guess. Santi Aldama even sat yesterday with an illness. So if some guys come back today, I like the Grizzlies. Now, I think if you lock in the Grizzlies, you better lock them in and be able to. You must be on a book that you can cash it out. Because if Ja Morant gets ruled out, I obviously am not loving really the Grizzlies -11. Especially if Aldama and Ja Morant are ruled out. That Jazz team's been a little competitive recently, man, if you've been able to tell. Lost by 9 to the Thunder. losing by 9 to the Thunder is actually for the Jazz. That's a win. They were 15.5 point underdogs, so they covered that. They lost to the Pelicans, but only by 4. They lost to the Pelicans. They did lose by 13 in that one, but only lost by 5 to the Hornets. I guess Hornets not a great team, but still close game. Beat the Nets by 1. Lost to the Suns only by 8. Lost to the Heat only by 5. Lost to the Hawks only by 3. Yes, they are losing all those games, but they are covering a lot of those. They have covered the spread in 8 of their last 10 games. So I think if you like the Grizzlies, you have to be banking on Ja playing. You have to be banking on these Grizzlies guys because this Grizzlies did just play a back-to-back yesterday. Does look like Desmond Bane played about 34 minutes. Jaren Jackson played 32, 33 minutes. I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about it because if you are looking ATS on no rest, Grizzlies still decent, man. 5-1 this year on back-to-back, so they haven't been too bad. They have not been too bad against the spread. So if those guys come back, though, I do like the Grizzlies. I do. I think they can smoke the Grizzlies. I mean, Grizzlies can kind of score here and there, but I also think that Grizzlies team, their defense at home is a lot better than what it is on the road. So with Grizzlies there at home, I definitely like the -11 if those guys go. But third best bet here, and it's not the Grizzlies, but it is a Grizzlies player, and I'm hoping he goes today because I love the spot. Ja Morant, man. I love the spot now. There's not a lot of stats to back this one up, but I do love his over 34.5 PRAs today versus the Jazz. Now, like I said, not a lot of stats to back this up because he's only went over this 5 of his last 15 games. So he's actually went under this 10 of the last 15. 10 of the last 15. Has not really been hitting it a lot. But good news, kind of good news. He's landed on 33 or 34, so 1 or right on the hook. He's landed on that 5 of those misses. So he really almost came really close to hitting that and going over 10 of 15, but he's went under 5 of the last 15 because he's landing on 33, 34, right on the hook or right there. He's fishing. He's not on the hook yet, but he's fishing. So I like Ja today to have a good game now. There's a little bit of uncertainty there with his illness. Could he come back today and play 26 minutes and the Grizzlies blow out the Jazz by 40? That could definitely happen. So it's not a play that I would be necessarily loving in a parlay. It's also not a play that I would be throwing multiple units on. By no means. You guys see what we've been putting on it. But I like the spot for here. He's hit the 6 straight versus the Jazz. Just having great games, good assist games. If you're not loving Ja, when you are looking when the Grizzlies blow out a team by 20 and Ja plays, out of all of his lines, points, rebounds, assists, he hits his assists the most. So if you think this game is a blowout by 20 plus points, then I think Ja Morant assists would be your pivot there. A very good pivot, but I really think Ja just balls out today. I like the spot for Ja. We just need him to play, man. We need him to play. That is my favorite play in that game. I didn't look at any Jazz props. And Grizzlies, I love Ja today, so that's what I'm rocking with. Third to last game. Now, I know you're not going to see the last 2 games on the board. We will still talk about them. But the last 2 games on the board, you won't see it on the graphic here. Washington Wizards at the Suns, and then the Bucks at the Clippers. We will talk about those games. But the next one, Lakers at the Warriors. I love the Warriors. I love the Warriors. I love the Warriors. I feel like I've been very strongly opinionated on some of these games here over this past week. We are 4-0 against the spread on the spread picks this week. Been smacking on the spread picks. I like the Warriors a lot here. I do. Lakers, when you're looking, man, they have 24 wins. They have only one. Look at their last couple. Win 2, lose. Win 2, lose. Lose 3, win 2. Lose 2, or win 2, lose 1. Win 3, lose 1, which they did beat the Kings twice there. And then that was when the Kings were sucking, and then against the Grizzlies. But if you're looking at this Lakers team just off of just what they do, they win 2, lose. Win 2, lose. Win 2, lose 3. Win 2, lose. Like they've only went on a 3-game winning streak twice this year. And those were both at the beginning of the season. The first 3 games, they started off 3-0, and then they lost a couple, and then they won, and then lost a couple, and then they went on like a 5-6 game win streak. The last time that they won 3 games in a row was back on November 19th. They have not won 3 games since. And if you know this matchup, LeBron and Steph, they love to go up against each other. So I think Steph has a game here. Steph, if you've been paying attention, he's been going under a lot of his props. Today's point line's at 24.5. I love him to go over that. I think Steph's floor today is 20 points. If you hear me correctly, I think Steph's floor today is 20 points. So if you want to take Steph 20 points and Warriors money line, if you want to take Steph 20 points and Grizzlies money line, or parlay with another 20-pointer, or a guy to get a double-double, whatever you got to do to get decent odds, whatever you're liking there, I think Curry 20 points, I like that. He's hit that like 11 straight versus the Lakers. him and LeBron show up against each other. I do like the Warriors here. I straight up just like the Warriors. I don't know, looking at this game, how I can really be liking anything else. The Lakers have lost 5 or 7 of their last 10 road games. And like I said, they can never really string together multiple wins besides about 2. I like the Warriors here, man. I know this Warriors team is a little banged up. They're missing Draymond Green. Gary Payton even looks like he may be either probable or questionable there. Andrew Wiggins looks like he's good to go. Gary Payton is probable, so he'll be good to go. Brandon Podziemski is also probable. It looks just like maybe no Draymond. You know, Draymond's washed. Let's be honest. Draymond is washed. So, in this game, love the Warriors. Love the Warriors. Love the Warriors. Love Steph today. Another Warriors player to point out. That was my second favorite, or 1A, 1B. Interchange them both. Andrew Wiggins over today. I like Andrew Wiggins over points as well today. And if you are looking at Andrew Wiggins' rebounds versus the Lakers, that man never really finishes with less than 4 rebounds versus the Lakers. So, you know what? If you want to take Wiggins today, points plus rebounds, I don't even really mind it. Because when he does face off versus that Lakers team, he usually is finishing around 4 rebounds at the least. Now, if you are looking at his regular game log against whatever opponent, he doesn't always hit that. But versus the Lakers, it seems like his floor is 4 rebounds. And then I think he definitely scores 15, 18 points today, which is what his line's at 17.5, I think. So lean him over, lean Steph over. Definitely like the Warriors. Let's move on to these last 2 games. And you're not going to see them on the graphic here, but we're going to talk about them still. The Washington Wizards at the Suns. Now, big reason I don't have them on the graphic is because I couldn't fit them in there because there's 14 games. I didn't feel like making another page. And plus, this game is garbage. The Wizards at the Suns. Bradley Beal looks like he may be questionable. Yusuf Nurkic looks like he may be questionable. I mean, boys, I always say it. Suns, I can't trust them. I can't trust them. This Wizards team, though, you heard me just give out some stats earlier. Defensive rating on the road, they are a bottom 4 defensive team on the road. Their offensive rating over their last about 8 road games here is the absolute worst in the NBA. Worse than the Magic. And we've seen what that Magic team's been doing recently. So, I still think I would lean the Suns, but honestly, I'm leaning the over, or the under. Sorry, I lean the under. This last time these teams faced, it was a high game, 130 to 123. The Suns shot 52%, shot 48% from 3, got up to the foul line 31 times, made 26 of them. The Wizards even shot 50%. I don't think that happens again. So I lean the under 231 there, but not a super confident play, man. I didn't look at any player props in that game. I have 6 plays today in my VIP. I gave 3 out in the video today, 3 best bets in the video. So drop a like if you're tailing, and leave a comment, man. It helps out the algorithm. It really pushes out the video for me. So if you've made it this far, I would greatly appreciate it, man. Just because I appreciate you guys rocking with me, hearing me yap. D's, Japs, and Leans is here for about 45 minutes today because we got a freaking huge slate. So let's get into this last game. Milwaukee Bucks versus the Clippers. You know, I think I lean the Bucks here, but this Clippers defense is insane on the road. Insane on the road. So I lean the under in this game. Or Clippers defense at home is insane. I lean the under in this game. 224, lean the under. Lean the under, lean the under. Now, this is another game I didn't look super in-depth on just because I had 6 plays, and I was like, you know what? I'm not in love with the Bucks here, and I'm not in love with the Clippers here. That Clippers team, they have had some guys kind of coming in and out of that lineup. Kawhi's came back. Looks like he's going to go. Giannis looks like he's going to play tonight. Chris Middleton looks like he's going to play tonight. So it should be a solid game. It should be a very good game. I still feel like I would honestly probably, if Kawhi goes, though, not that he's been like a wagon or anything necessarily, but he's kind of picking up a little bit. He's playing that 23, 24 minutes now instead of 20. I really want to say I lean the Clippers at home just because their defense is so good, but Bucks, I don't know, man. I don't know. Bucks did just have to travel cross country, though. Today is the 25th. They just played in Miami on the 23rd, having to travel all the way cross country over to LA. Now, they did have a day rest there, but still, they were basically flying that whole day. Give me the Clippers there. I lean the Clippers. Give me the Clippers. That's my side. I'm officially leaning there. It's a lean, not an official play, but lean the Clippers there. No official player props or any really leans on this player props there. If you guys do have a question about a player prop, always feel free to comment, man. Comment on the video. If you're wanting to know how I feel about Ivica Zubac or something, I will definitely check it out for you if I haven't already. Any player prop on the board today, any team on the board today. If you're wanting to know how I feel or just, hey, want to leave your comments and let me know how you're feeling, do it, man. Let's have a dang get. Let's finish off this week strong, man. Let's finish this week off strong. We're up over 10 units for the month of January. We're gonna steady keep on crushing here. We've been smacking NBA, and 14 games on the board, man. 14 games on the board. 3 best bets. Let's sweep again today, and let's keep on crushing, man. Let's go.